and Maddie from American Field Trip, and today we are going to talk a little bit about why we chose to convert a bus instead of a van or an RV or something like that. So,
yeah, I think initially we both liked the idea of a van for size and gas mileage, which would have been nice. But as we were looking at sizes of vans and kind of what we needed, because we have 4 of us and we wanted the kids to have a separate space from us and we needed seating for 4 people, the size of a van started to get a little bit tight.
Yeah, so vans, too small. School bus was too big. So we settled in the middle with like a shuttle bus, which is basically the size of like a Class C RV or something like that, like one of those little self-contained things. It's built on the same van chassis, and I think it's kind of comparable in size on the inside. I know I can stand up in this. I'm like 6'2". I can stand up and without hitting my head, and I think it's 7.5 feet wide. I think some school buses are 8 feet wide, so maybe it's like a little bit narrower, but it's kind of like it's a little bit bigger than your typical short bus.
Yeah. Which
was kind of the sweet spot for us because we needed to have dedicated seating inside, which is right here, which we've got, and we knew that we did not want one of these like convertible origami bed situations where we were going to have to like pull out something and put everything away.
Yeah, mainly because of car seats, because we didn't want to be moving car seats around all the time. Because
where are you going to put them?
And also because our kids take naps and like to play on the bed, and the bed is a very multi-use space for us. So
and living in here full time, we didn't want to have to like every single night like do this transformer thing. So we wanted everything like we wanted to keep some spaces single use, which is kind of heresy a little bit in camper vans because everyone's about, spaces doing 5 things and stuff, which is great for some spaces.
I don't think everything in here does have multiple uses. It's just that it's in the same configuration for all of its uses.
Our furniture stays. The table remains a table. The couch, the seat remains a seat. We don't have a couch.
You can call it a couch.
The bed remains a bed.
Right. Which is very useful for us.
Yeah.
Our bus is actually about the same length as the longest Sprinters. So where the extra space comes from is in the width because they're wider, which means that we could have a double bed in the back with the kids' bunk beds right next to it, which has been really, really nice for us. And it gave us the opportunity to have a deeper counter, a wider table, and just more space all
around. That extra foot of space you get makes a big difference.
So the other thing is, once we started looking bigger than a van, an RV is kind of the logical choice because everything is already set up in it and it's already plumbed and electrified and outfitted. Yeah. And what we didn't like about RVs is that we couldn't find a configuration that was really smart for us. We felt like if we were doing like weekend trips or traveling less than we are, if we weren't doing full time, I don't think it would have been that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But we felt like we're going to be living in this full time. We want to have something that we really like the layout of and that's really, really smart for us. And so being able to choose based on our specific needs what we had inside was really, really nice.
Yeah, I know the stuff that we couldn't find or had trouble finding in an RV was just like a sleeping situation that made sense. I know we know we wanted a bedroom that could be closed off, which you can find in lots of fifth wheels and big Class A RVs, but in stuff this size, it's all kind of one big space, and so we couldn't find something with a closed off sleeping space. We couldn't find something. We could have figured it out somehow, but it was just like, we're kind of jerry-rigging something. And so like we couldn't find that. We couldn't find something that had good dedicated seating for the kids since we're going to be covering a lot of ground and sitting in their car seats a lot. We couldn't find anything with seating, and we wanted something that was like safe and like real seats, not just a weird like dinette bench that'll rip out in an impact, We wanted something that was solid and safe.
And not that the bus is going to be like incredibly safe if we ever.
I think it'd be pretty safe. Everything in here is pretty solidly anchored.
But the safety advantage of a bus over an RV, which was a big deal for us, is that this is inside of a steel cage.
Yeah.
This bus. RVs are not.
If you've ever seen an RV crash, then you can see what an RV looks like when it breaks open.
We went to an RV like parts yard, a guy who refurbs RVs, and a lot of them had been in crashes. A lot of them had burned down, and apparently that's pretty common.
Yeah, like propane
RV
fridges
fires,
catching on fire and stuff like that, which was terrifying.
But also, they're just not very solid. And a lot of the older ones are really poorly insulated, and so we felt like if we did get an RV, we would end up kind of ripping it down to the studs.
We would gut it anyways,
so that we could insulate better, and fixing it up enough that it made more sense for us to start with a blanker slate.
Yeah, and it was cheaper. RVs are expensive. I know the stuff in our category was like RVs from the 90s that were old. One thing that really old things from the 90s. But in the scheme of RVs, you know, if you're not getting something that's old or in bad shape that needs a lot of work, they're expensive. They're expensive.
And the RVs with really smart setups are the ones that get fairly good gas mileage, get really expensive. The ones that are built on Sprinter vans are crazy.
Super expensive.
Oh, and this is the other thing.
Like $100,000 for an RV.
Everyone that we talk to about Sprinter vans hates them. Like
asterisk, anyone that has a Sprinter van and drives it a lot. Like anyone that drives them professionally, or lives in them full time and covers a lot of ground.
I'm sure that there are a lot of full-time van lifers that do love their Sprinters, but from the people that we personally knew that we talked to, we heard a lot of bad things about Sprinters breaking down when they.
And the kind of Sprinter that we could afford, which is one with a lot of miles on it.
So I think once they hit 100,000 miles, kind of the verdict was
stuff starts to break.
Parts start breaking a lot, and then they're
expensive.
Incredibly expensive because it's a Mercedes engine
to
fix it, and you get stuck places because nobody keeps Mercedes parts. So this is a Ford engine. It's like the engine that's in school buses, and everyone has the parts everywhere.
Yeah.
We had stuff fixed on the bus in the middle of Death Valley National Park because everybody has the parts. Which is a real solid advantage, especially when you live in your vehicle and breaking down means you're just stuck and kind of don't have anywhere to go. It's a really nice thing to have it be easy to fix.
Also, we have had pretty much no mechanical problems with the bus.
This thing's been amazing.
It's been amazing. So we bought it with 143,000 miles on it, and we've put almost 35,000 miles on it in under a year. So we've driven this thing hard, like to the end of the earth and back. And the only times that we've had to have it in the shop were for kind of user error type things.
We've learned
like not replacing your brake pads in time and stuff like that. Replace your brake pads. Have them checked regularly.
The problem with covering as much ground as we do is that maintenance comes up a lot faster than we're used to it because we're putting on so many miles. So we have to keep a really close eye on, and we've done well with oil changes and stuff. I think the brake pads are the only thing that kind of caught us off guard.
The brake pad situation was like, oh man, the brake pads are getting low. We should get that changed. And then we forgot about it for like 2 or 3 days. And in those 2 or 3 days, we drove from like Louisiana to South Carolina. We drove a long ways. And then when we got to South Carolina, we're like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
We just destroyed our rotors. So we had to fix those.
So we replaced the rotors.
But other than that, there has been nothing outside of routine maintenance or just like dumb stuff like that. But the engine itself is super solid. The gas mileage sucks, but that's the only bad part about it. And it's honestly, I think, been kind of worth it because it's been just for the security, because we're driving in places that are very remote. I know when we were choosing this bus, I had this vision of we're going to be driving like to Alaska and we're going to be in the middle of nowhere in the Yukon and we're going to break down, and I want to be able to tow it to the nearest mechanic and have them be able to fix it within a day or two. I don't want to, you hear stories of people having to get towed hundreds of miles and then waiting for a week for a part to come in, and we just didn't have the time to do that. And so So we went with
Nobody
this.
wants to do that.
And
So
it's
yeah,
been a good choice so far. I would recommend it.
Absolutely. The Ford
engines have been great.
It's been really good.
Really, really
and
good.
And the space in the bus has been great. The way that we've configured it has worked super well for us. I'm kind of surprised that we we thought through it, what we wanted in here, but I'm kind of surprised that it's worked as well as it has.
Really well.
For considering that we didn't have any experience with this before, the setup that we have, I wouldn't change anything about it now, 10 months in. So that's good.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
You can check out, if you're interested in the setup, we have another video of a little quick tour.
And there's a longer tour too that we did with Less Drunk, More Journey.
Yeah, there's a longer tour in there too. But we love it. And all in all, bus over RV, there's it's been really good for us. I think it's because with our budget and with the level of customization that we needed to do
or wanted
to do. I mean, you can hack anything, but we wanted what we wanted, we wanted the office space in the back. There was nothing we could find that had some sort of separate workspace because it's because nobody wants that in their weekend RV.
Yeah, we wanted the kids to not be in our bed, but we wanted to be in the same sleeping space, so not having them above the cab and then us in the back, or just for safety and heat, cold reasons, because it gets kind of cold at night sometimes, and having us all in one space has been really nice. Yeah. Anyway, so there's just a lot of stuff like that it worked really well to be able to configure our space the way we liked it, and it's also fun and creative, and we learned a lot in the build-out process. So
super stressful. I don't recommend doing it as quickly as we did.
Yeah, try to take longer than 6 weeks
but
if you have
take your time and enjoy it.
With your build out.
It's a lot of fun.
Yes, it can be fun.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
You learn a lot.
You
do things you never thought you could do.
Yeah. But yeah, bus life, 2 thumbs up from the Bowman clan. Awesome. We really love it. So
much fun.
Yeah. Good.
Click down below and subscribe if you're interested in more bus life tips and adventures from the road. We're going to be detailing our build-out process a lot more. We did it so quickly that we didn't document it very much because we were so stressed. So now we're kind of going back and kind of walking through the process in hindsight, which actually is probably more valuable than documenting it in the moment, because now we're 30,000 miles down the road and have the benefit of some hindsight.
We can tell you what's held up.
Yeah.
Also, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments or shoot us an email, and we would love to get those answered for you. So
check us out on Instagram. Check out our blog, AmericanFieldTrip.com. Cool.
Okay.
See you next time.